Madistas, welcome back to another episode of Let's Be Real podcast. We are on to our fifth season, if I'm not mistaken. I'm pretty shit at math, but we have been doing this for quite a bit now. It has been a roller coaster for 4 or 5 years or so, and I honestly, would like to again thank our brilliant audience. Especially the people who have supported us right from day one. Um, a very, very strong listener base on Spotify, on Apple Music, Amazon Music, you name it. Um, People have reached out from all across the world over the last 3 months, asking where our whereabouts were. Because honestly, last year, due to multiple factors, maybe the season being a bit of a downer and the hellish pace at which the season was, navigated. It took a toll on me. Not just me. I'm pretty sure the club as well, because we needed a bit of a reset time, and usually we get it a month or so before a new season starts. But this year, with the Club World Cup, it was a bit more frantic. Um, there were questions, as to why we didn't cover the Club World Cup. To me personally, I think it was my decision, to be honest, because after a season like that, can we really take any solace in the Club World Cup? I personally didn't think so. Um, Moreover, we knew that whatever Xabi Alonso wanted to do with our team, we couldn't realistically expect anything from that squad on the back of that season. And yeah, PSG basically showed us up, in the semi-final. So this, I hope, is a good reset for not just the club, for us as well, for you guys as well. Um, for yet another season with Let's Be Real, we have had the absolute pleasure, the absolute fortune to meet some incredible people along the way, incredible friendships, a good sense of community that we have built thanks to all you guys over the last 4 years or so. Um, we hope to keep that going, and we hope to continue receiving all your support and warmth that we have been so kind and so fortunate to be on the receiving end of. Moving on to business. Before we get into business, welcome Sahil and Farooq, usual suspects. We have
Yes.
Kanishk in the building as well, a new
Hi
face.
guys.
I hope Kanishk is also judged, fairly, as the season progresses, because we tend to have different points during the season where all of us collectively or individually tends to lose our minds. Me on a consistent basis, on a weekly basis, if I may say so. But yeah, show your love to Kanishk and be fair. We're all fans. We aren't self-proclaimed pundits like the ones you see um, across social media nowadays. We are fans. We speak like fans, and I would expect Ganesh to be treated the same way that you guys have treated us over the years. Um, I'll come over to you first, Ganesh. Last year wasn't necessarily a year that we can fondly look back upon. Personally, for me, it was a heavy. It was almost really fatiguing for me towards the end with Carlo and Modric leaving. Um, Coming to this year, can we can we really shed the negativity that we had towards the end of last year? And like, do you really think you have a very positive outlook going into Tuesday's open against Osasuna?
Uh, First of all, hi guys. Thank you so much for having me. It's a real privilege to be speaking to like-minded Madridistas from across the world, and thank you, Sunit, for giving me this opportunity. Well, I think for everyone, last year was extremely tiring and fatiguing throughout the season. It was filled with ups and downs. It was filled with, I would say, a lot of mediocre performances as well. And we were just not used to seeing the players play like that. And it had kind of been in the reckoning for the past few seasons. You could see certain players or certain play styles or certain tactics which Don Carlo was using was definitely, kind of going downhill. I would not badmouth him. He's done wonders for the club. He's won
Yeah,
Champions Leagues, he's won La Liga, he's been a great servant to Real Madrid. But I think a lot of freshness was required this season, which I do feel and I can see from the limited exposure Xabi Alonso has had so far in the Club World Cup with the performances, maybe it be the tactics or, even in the recent warm-up games against Leganes and Tirol. I think you could really see that he's trying new things out. He's experimenting. He's bringing that freshness into the team. And I think definitely this season is something I'm very optimistic about because he's kind of going to bring that fresh outlook towards his playing styles, and he's going to, I think, try to make the team a more cohesive unit, which I think definitely was lacking for the past 2 seasons.
fair enough. Some very positive thoughts for sure.
Definitely.
I hope I can be on the same page. The Club World Cup, although it was too early, it didn't really instill me with a lot of confidence. It was too early to call. I was very keen on pointing that out as well when I had my usual rant during the Club World Cup in the group chat. But talk to me, Farouk, bro. You were one of those guys who respected what Carlo brought to the table, but you at the same time was very adamant that we needed fresh ideas, that we needed a new direction for this club to be going in. Xabi Alonso, fresh faced, relatively inexperienced compared to a veteran like Carlo, has had probably a couple of top level. Um, he has his own set of fundamentals that he strives by. Can you really gauge as to how successful his first year would be? Given the fact that the club has, contrary to my belief, that the club wouldn't really back him. He has been, I think, adequately backed for a for a manager stepping into his first season with Madrid. Given that he has a relatively uh, less of a track record compared to his predecessor. Um, Signings has been very much made with Xabi Alonso in mind, especially if you look at signings like Mastantuono, who is only what 17, 18, but a clear indication of how Xabi Alonso wants his 3-5-2 to look like. Do you think this is somewhat like how many would have believed that the club is basically setting up managers to fail? Do you think Xabi Alonso is being set up to succeed from the get go?
I'd say it's a 50-50 actually. I'd say yes, like he's been provided certain players actually. It's obvious that we've needed for a long time. Everyone knows that we've needed a center back, we've needed fullbacks. But I think the interesting thing here is that like when you look at the way Xavi at least has played, because the point is Xavi is an absolutely you use the word relatively inexperienced, but Xavi is absolutely inexperienced. He's only managed at Leverkusen for 2 years. Like that's literally there's nothing else. So like he's literally inexperienced. Of course, he comes, with a lot of praise and references and all that. He was formerly part of the team, the coaches that he's played under, and all those stuff. But I do think the club has done a lot, at least compared to what Carlo Ancelotti was given. But I still do think like there's still a glaring thing that's missing, which is I think a midfielder that's absolutely missing. So that's why I actually was surprised when they went for the forward rather than searching for another midfielder. Except if they're expecting someone internally could take that step, and Alonso is quite confident in that. Unless that happens, I don't see that. But I still do feel like the team is still like short of obtaining that balance that has been missing. And I think it will take a bit of time for Xabi Alonso to actually achieve that. And while I, was a critic of, Carlo Ancelotti, like strongly, I respected what he did. But also I do know that even if we have a new coach in, we need to wait. That's just the thing. Like, especially when you're getting a new coach who is like absolutely inexperienced, you need to wait. Not everyone is going to be a Zidane, not everyone's going to be a Pep Guardiola. So that's just the thing. You need to wait to see how, the results will reflect or lack thereof. So I do think that's one thing we would have to wait to see, Xavi tests the players, the players test him, the conflicts arise, how he resolves those conflicts and something like that. But I would not be surprised if we sit here in January and February and Xabi Alonso is no longer in the job.
Wait, Did I hear that correctly? So you wouldn't be surprised if he is sacked before February? Is that what is
Yeah,
that what you
exactly.
insinuate?
I mean,
Mm,
even if he's not being sacked, like we might hear, like because we've seen this with Zidane earlier, right? So like in this last stint, like in February, January, we kept hearing like he was going to be sacked, he was going to be sacked. They didn't
yeah.
sack him eventually, but they also didn't back him as well. Yeah, so like that's why he quitted,
Mm,
right? One of the reasons
mm,
why he quitted. So I think for Xavi as well, I do think like while I do think like in the short career that he's had, he's shown a lot of brilliances, but also like these are coaches that like like the teams adapt to them as time goes on. But then what we've seen with Real Madrid, at least in the last, at least since I started watching, it's like this is not what the club does. You
mm,
understand? So like in the
mm,
last 15 years, more or less, like this is not what the club does. The club will bring you in, will not give you the time to develop whatever it is that you need to develop or show the style that you need to show. But then will the name Xabi Alonso be enough? Will the pedigree that he have be enough for, the club and the fans as a whole? I think that's
mm,
the only worry that I have. I actually do not worry about the man himself or the team. I worry about the fans and the management. How patient can we be?
mm.
How patient can the management be as well?
Sahil, what's your 2 cents on Xabi Alonso? I know you told me you have been a bit disconnected from what's been going on over the last couple of months. To be fair, I've been as well. And I was very vocal in stating this that when Modric left, something died inside me. It was always going to be the case. After that, Carlo left as well. I just completely felt like it wasn't my team anymore.
Yeah.
But like any good relationship or love in general, it has its ebbs and flows, and I'm surely back uh, seatbelt on, strapped in and ready to go. Um, Going off of the back of what Farouk just said, Sahil, Xabi Alonso is actually inheriting the youngest squad that we have had since 1998, with an average age of 25.07.
Yeah.
Do you think that Xabi Alonso has enough in his locker to actually nurture these not so proven
Yeah, I
top
think he does.
professionals? Mm,
I think he definitely does, and that's part of the core fundamentals of what he has actually shown in his two seasons at Leverkusen, that he is actually capable of um
can
picking
you
up
speak
these
a
young
bit louder,
kids.
Simon? A bit louder, a bit louder.
Okay, all right. Is it better now?
Yeah, it's better. Yeah.
Okay. It's just my mic, I'm sorry. So I think one of the key things that he has actually shown during his spell at Leverkusen was that he is more than capable of picking up these young kids and fitting them into a system that actually works. Because at Real Madrid, we know that we haven't really been a
Mm,
system team for a long time. At the same time, I also agree with what Farouk says, because Real Madrid's board is absolutely impatient, and the pressure is, when it mounts with the fans and with the expectations that everyone around the club has with results, it absolutely gets to anyone, be it a Zidane or be it a Mourinho, right? When the results don't go your way, it's all or nothing.
mm,
Uh, and I think Xavi might find himself in that sort of position before the end of the season. But like you also said, it was a pretty damning, depressing end to last season. So I think people will still have that in mind, because no matter how
yeah.
how badly the season goes, it can't. I don't think it can be as bad as last season.
Mm,
Right. So I think people still have that coming into this, and I don't. Uh, you mentioned earlier, I think Kanishk as well, that he has actually been provided with a little bit of support, a little bit of what any new manager would wish for, with new signings, and doing away with players who were a little bit of a liability, like Lucas Vasquez, say, right? Then again, I feel like the biggest challenge for Xabi Alonso going into the season would be to actually nurture and to bring out the best in the players who are already at the club, the
mm,
pre-existing squad, the likes
yeah.
of Vinicius and Rodrigo, both of whom has been linked to quite nonsensical moves in the summer, but we've never heard
Yeah.
rumors about
Yeah.
Vinicius and Rodrigo before. So both of their forms will be a big question mark going into the season. How does he then fix the defense? Like obviously he's made signings, Trent, Huijsen, but then you have an aging Rudiger, you have a liability, a little bit of a liability in Ferland Mendy, a player who hasn't really shown his best game in the best part of 2 seasons. So I feel like there's still fundamental issues within the squad outside of the new signings, right? Outside of Trent, outside of Correas, right? You still have problems. Like I'm, for me for one, I'm glad that Fede Valverde is. I hope so. Will no longer be required to play as a right back on a regular basis because obviously we now have Trent, we now have a fully fit Carvajal. But I feel like that and the emergence of someone like Arda Güler will solve the midfield issues.
You mentioned Rudiger. Rudiger and Alaba reportedly, I don't think we will be offering them new contracts. Their contracts are running out at the end of the season. So I think the club is clearly looking to move on from them. Rudiger, I'm a bit surprised, but there was clear writings on the wall, especially given his bad track record with his knee recurring knee issues over the last 2-3 years. Alaba, we needn't say much about Alaba, but if he can actually play a pivotal role, the likes of Alaba, in the season remains to be seen, especially with Xabi, trusting him with the midfield role, in some of the games, like we saw against Tirol in the second half, where he actually, kind of played as a pseudo midfielder. It remains to be seen. I'm hoping that there is a real case for a B team this year, whether it be a completely, fresh set of players that we can rely on between big games, or a mix of the A team and the B team, kind of helping us to get over the line in hectic match weeks. It remains to be seen. A hallmark of a good team is competition for places. A hallmark of a good team is, like we saw, in the historic 16-17 season, is a healthy relationship between, the so-called, untouchable 18 players and, the people vying for a place in the B team. There should be always incentive. That's my one single request in this period of transition. As much as I love Carlo, he had his favorites, he had his untouchables, whom he never really laid a finger on. If I'll be honest, I just really hope, like Xabi Alonso has been dealing with Rodrigo, I hope he shows the same energy for Mbappe and Vinicius. But I don't think this club will give him that sort of authority to actually really go to that extent. But fingers crossed, hoping for better days, because if that doesn't happen, go on, side.
The only reason why we didn't question that tendency of Carlo to not, touch his so-called untouchables was because we didn't have anyone in the ranks, right? After Joselu left, we didn't have a replacement for that. Enric wasn't nearly as sharp or as as polished a player as a Joselu was. But now we do. We've seen what Gonzalo Garcia can do at the Club World Cup, right?
Yeah.
So, and we have young players, right? It's obviously Jude is out for a couple of months now, but we have the depth. We have Arda. We still have Brahim Diaz, who I think is an excellent filler player. Like he can give you a good shift in any position across the front four. That's what I feel.
We have guys like Diego Pitach, who we will be talking about in a bit. I've outlined some of the players that Xabi Alonso has to be looking out for, if his first season needs to be successful, and he is absolutely part of the equation. Him and Franco Mastono, I think, has to have significant minutes and heavy involvement if we are to actually make sure that we are firing on all cylinders. It's a big ask, but this is minutes in rotation. This isn't necessarily being relied upon like a Modric, like a Cruz, to be providing 8 on 10s, 9 on 10s week in, week out, but giving these guys enough minutes to gel, enough minutes to develop, enough minutes to showcase what they can clearly do. But But yeah, Farooq, how are we doing on time? Are we okay?
Oh yeah. We good. We good.
We're good, right? We're good. Okay. Um, let's start from the very base, right? I'm coming to you, Kanishk. Over the Club World Cup, we got to see glimpses of what Xabi Alonso would like his ideal setup to be. He didn't really like I predicted. He he is someone who found incredible success with the 3-5-2, and my feeling and the murmurs that I've heard over the years that the 3-5-2 or the three at the back isn't necessarily something that the club and the board really backs or is incredibly fond of. Has rung to be true again, because although it can be used to improvise in a situation that we can actually take real advantage of, a three at the back can't be ever so associated with Madrid. I don't think, especially in its modern history, three at the back is something that we have always strayed away from. But coming on to what Xabi Alonso tried to showcase at the Club World Cup, starting with a base 4-3-3, but then between games or basically trying to control or regain momentum in a game, trying to overload the midfield. We have seen Chouameni drop back into a back three, forming a midfield five, and basically bringing in Goller, who in our traditional 4-3-3 is a right-sided midfielder into Cam, and basically giving us a short, sweet sample of a system that relies on some very strict zonal responsibilities, some versatility, some dynamism compared to what Carlo had us playing under for the good part of 3-4 years. What do you think is awaiting us against Osasuna? La Liga has been one hell of a pain to navigate over the last year, especially with refereeing decisions and all the controversies that necessarily isn't near the football pitch, but with a new tactic, with a new system that has to be constantly evolving. How challenging will it be for the new players to actually do their best under this new system, Ganesh?
Well, look, I feel just the fact that Madrid has got a decent amount of break between the PSG semi-final and the beginning of the new season. I
Yeah,
think 2, 3, around 4 to 5 weeks of rest, if
yeah,
I'm not wrong. So I
yeah,
think and like recuperation, and I think you guys must have also noticed the team stayed away from any kind of social media presence. There's not been much reporting, much hype apart from the general daily transfer
mm,
news and things like that.
mm,
Teams kind of maintained like a low profile. I do think, this is also a part of Xabi Alonso's tactics. I think he's giving the team enough time to gel with each other, because he knows I personally feel Xabi Alonso, sorry, apologies, is a formation manager. I don't think he's, someone like an Ancelotti, who's probably not extremely hell-bent on a particular type of, say, like a 4-4-2, which he used to play back in his when he was managing AC Milan and those teams. And he can also shift into a 4-4-3. But I very strongly feel that Xabi Alonso is a formation manager. He is very hell-bent on his formation. He likes to play his brand of football in a certain way. And I think he is definitely in the first few games trying to not impose that, but definitely make the team play like that. And it's going to be very crucial what the left back and the right back does. And I'm putting my money on Trent Alexander-Arnold, because you've seen in his Leverkusen days when he was playing a 3-5-2,
yeah,
Jeremiah Frimpong on the right wing was extremely important because he was tracking back. And, he was making that defensive contribution in the team. And Trent Alexander-Arnold in Liverpool was not extremely popular in that aspect when it came to tracking back and covering the lost tracks. So I think that is going to be very important, how he adapts to the right back slash right wing back position. And it's going to be interesting because I think Osasuna is a challenging game. You cannot take it lightly, especially the first game of the season. A lot of pressure, new coach, a lot of new players, new faces, and new expectation. I think if I'm not wrong, Madrid's playing at home the first match of the season after a while. Because if I remember correctly, the
Yeah,
first few
yeah,
matches of the past few seasons have constantly been
yeah,
away from home. If I recollect correctly from the COVID times.
yeah, yeah.
So, the first match in the Bernabeu, the crowd is going to be there. I think it's going to be roof closed. So I think it's going to be very interesting to see how Xabi Alonso adapts. And it's also,
Mm,
I would like when Farooq was mentioning about that coaching aspect of things. Madrid is a very impatient club. We've seen that in the past with Rafa Benitez. We've seen that with Santi Solari. Just when things start clicking, if they find like a better output or like they find like a better option, they would definitely want to move away from that. However, I feel Madrid wanted Xabi Alonso to take the reins after Carlo Ancelotti, irrespective of how the last season went. Suppose we would have probably, won the Champions League as well.
yeah.
I would have not seen Carlo Ancelotti continue as Madrid coach. I would have still seen Xabi Alonso take the charge because I think that was kind of in the reckoning. So I don't
Mm.
feel that Madrid is setting up Alonso to fail. I think they will be a bit more patient with him because if they had to remove, they could have removed Ancelotti in the middle of last season as well. They could have gotten like an interim coach. Or they could have gotten Raul from the A or B teams and
Yeah.
management it. But I just feel it's going to be a lot of pressure. It's going to be very interesting to see how Xabi Alonso adapts to the Bernabeu crowd. Because they're going to expect a lot out of him. It's also got to do with a lot of his adaptability as a coach. If he sees the 3-5-2 is not working. Is he willing to change that? Is he willing to use his brains, maybe be a bit more creative and to try and find more outputs than
He
that?
has already shown us that he's
Yeah.
not really dogmatic because, him
Yeah.
basically, going back to the 4-3-3 is him giving himself to, what has been
Yeah.
uh, instilled in our very fabric for the last 20
Mm.
years. The 4-3-3 is what, all
Absolutely.
great
Yeah.
managers have, fallen back to. Um, but you made some great points. Like I would clearly, would like to see, what he's going to do with the likes of Trent, which I'm going
Yeah.
to, ask Farouk of because, he has watched him at Liverpool extensively over the last, 3-4 years, and he can maybe give us a better idea of what we can expect from the likes of Trent. We'll start with Trent. That's one of his new signings
Yeah.
that we're going to be discussing about.
And I think, Trent is the most exciting signing of the season so far. And it's been done.
Not
It
for me,
had been
not for
done and
me,
dusted
but
for.
yeah.
Okay.
Mhm. Yeah.
Okay.
No, I respect your viewpoint. I mean, he is a
Yeah.
tremendous player, but
Yeah.
I still do feel that he is a player who can only perform well if the conditions are absolutely tailored to his strengths and absolutely
Correct.
tailored to
I agree to
mask
that.
his
Yes.
weaknesses.
Just
Um,
say the word system player.
He's a system player,
uh,
definitely.
System player, yeah, you could say
No
that.
doubt
You could say
about it.
that.
Yeah.
You could
But
say
No,
he's
that.
still an exciting
actually,
signing. I mean, he
I
gives
don't.
us that extra edge.
I don't think he's a system player. Actually, I think Trent actually is
Go
the
on,
opposite.
Farouk.
I think Trent is the actual opposite of a system player. I think the point about as you nailed it on the head, right? Like Trent is a player that actually needs people to mask for him, right? So in a system, you have certain people who do certain roles and have certain things. Trent is a wild card. Like Trent is just a player that you just be like, okay, just do whatever you want. Like just get the ball and do your thing. So that's the kind of player that Trent is, and that's the thing. Like so, depends on how Alonso wants to line up. Who are going to be his midfielders? Who are going to be his centre backs? Like who's going to be able to cover that gap, that space that Trent is going to leave. Like, and sometimes it's not even that Trent leaves space. It's just that he doesn't naturally know how to defend. That's just my conclusion of what I understand of Trent. Like, it's not about the fact that he actually leaves space. It's just about the fact that like sometimes he just doesn't know how to do it like naturally. But then we saw that when Trent performed at his best, he was surrounded by very athletic players, Gini Wijnaldum, Jordan Henderson. And in my opinion, I think we have better versions of those guys. When you look at players like Chouameni and you look up, especially a player like Fede Valverde, who I expect will be the person who covers, Trent Alexander the most. And I do believe that we will sit here many match days and talk about Trent's deficiency as a defender. So the point now becomes this: if I don't know if Xabi Alonso was consulted about Trent, but based on what we know about what happened with Trent, it seems that it predates even any contacts with Xabi Alonso, like the whole idea of signing Trent. So that now breaks the question, as Kanish was pointing out rightfully. when you look at the people who have actually played this role for Xabi Alonso in the past, they're very athletic two-way, defenders. We look at Jeremy Frimpong, and we look at I forgot the name of the Spanish studio on the other side. Was it Spanish or Portuguese? Anyways,
two-way fullbacks. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You look at those guys; they're very two-way fullbacks. So, like, how do Trent,
Grimaldo.
exactly, Alex Grimaldo, exactly, the Portuguese guy. So, like, how do you how does Trent adapt to that, or rather, how does Xabi Alonso adapt to Trent as well? So, I think these are things that are going to be very interesting because I feel like Trent really can just shed the most exciting transfer, or if that adaptation doesn't happen, I think he's going to be one of the worst transfers we've had because literally
Absolutely, yeah.
He's gonna be a defensive sieve, because honestly, like when you find tricky wingers, they will always be Trent. And I personally do not have a problem with that. But the point is that do I have someone to cover for him? Because I know that I don't think there's any sane human being on earth that actually signed Trent because he's a defender. No, you signed Trent because he's one of the best passers of the ball that exists. And this is a glaring thing that you're missing since Toni Kroos left. You understand? So this is something like, okay, like if we use Trent in the right way, he can help to mask this. Because we've seen Liverpool, when they were on the pump, they were world champions, European champions, English champions. They did not have creative midfielders. They had absolutely zero creativity in the midfield. That was a season that you were seeing Trent was going 15, 16 assists, On the other hand, you had Robertson with 12, 13 assists. So, like, the point is, like, Trent can be a creative force, but you have to give him that license for that creativity. And you have to accept that, okay, this is what Trent is going to be. Trent is a liability on defense, but we need to put him in the best position to thrive. And this is where I have a problem. We saw at the Club World Cup, sometimes Trent has the ball. He looks up. There is no one to play the ball into.
Yeah.
That presence in the box. Because the point is, Trent just doesn't only, cross the ball over the top of the head. Like, Salah is not the tallest person. Sadio Mane wasn't the tallest person. Bobby Firmino wasn't the tallest person. You understand? But the point is, you need people in the right spaces. It's not about height. It's about quality of the delivery. It can be a cutback. It can be a ball on the ground. It can be a ball on the air. It's all about the quality of that. So it's really important, how Xabi Alonso adapts to Trent or Trent adapts to Xabi Alonso. And as I said, the issue that I actually think about is that Trent wasn't a Xabi signing. Xabi Alonso did not sign Trent. So what's going to happen?
Yeah. In like when you look at it on paper, he can actually play right back. He can, maybe play right wing back. He can, if push comes to shove, all the, couch tacticals that we have across the world, they would say he can play, he can effortlessly slot in at CM. But the evidence for that is very, very minimal. And the fact that Farouk, has seen a lot of Trent up close and personal compared to I have. But whenever I've seen him, he doesn't really succeed in the duties of a fullback. Maybe in an attacking sense, yeah, he can like what Farouk said, pick a ball on the dime, create some very interesting avenues, especially from right back. But when it comes to the fundamentals, when it comes to the foremost duties when you're right back, that is to mark your man, that is to basically not let him run in behind and then jog behind him. Absolutely hated watching that time and time again at the Club World Cup. Yes, he had a couple of neat interceptions, but his work rate leaves a lot to be desired. People can't be telling me, go on.
This is where, like Fark mentioned as well, this could go horribly wrong. Mostly because of the fact that Real Madrid, as compared to Liverpool sides of the past few seasons, actually spend a lot more time in a lot more games suffering, right? Zidane used to say, he used to use this word suffering. And we have to, take that into factor. We have to consider that because even against mid-table La Liga sides who, to their credit, are incredibly, well-talented at keeping the ball, sides like Betis, sides like Sevilla will put us under the pressure when, even when we're in the lead, even when we have a game to save.
Yeah. And
those are the situations, I think, where, Trent might end up being a bit of a liability. And that part of it might not have always come out at Liverpool because Liverpool have always, for the most part, played this very under-club, an ultra, high-energy style and under slot as well, a style in which we're they were used to keeping much of the ball during large periods of the game. So can Trent actually cope with that? Plus, Farooq, this is for you. And I've heard a lot of discourse around Liverpool on Reddit and stuff, where Trent's defending has actually improved over the past one season. And I don't know how far this is true or what,
Yeah,
but
it
I'd
is
like to
actually
get
true.
your 2 cents on it.
It's just actually, so like what happened was like when Slot came in, actually like he had very like intense 1v1 training with Trent Alexander-Arnold. So like actually Trent uh challenged him to call him out. Actually, Trent laid down the gauntlet to Slot, and he told Slot to like call him out if he was defending really badly. But one thing also we have to notice that it improved. But as I said, I feel like it's not about Trent, you know, being lazy or whatever, or not wanting to defend. I just feel like Trent just doesn't have that, natural instinct of defending in him. So this is the problem. He worked one-on-one a lot with Slot and his coaches a lot. But then when you watch Liverpool games last year, when they go towards the 60th, 70th minute, when they want to lock down the lead, either Gomez comes in or Conor Bradley comes in for Trent. Like this was like an automated substitution. Once you want to lock down the game, you want to set everything set
Okay.
in stone. You just change. You bring out Trent and you bring out a more defensive or rather a more defensively better fullback.
Right.
Yeah, your voice is a major concern, Farooq. It is completely breaking up. We missed large parts of what you said. If you can fix it right now, please try to do so. But yeah, like what Farooq said, Trent is absolutely someone who has toned his defensive attributes a bit over the last couple of years. But still, I would like to disagree with him. I don't want this to be made about Trent. This is a season preview, but since we are on it, I would just take this opportunity to say my 2 cents that when I see this guy basically jogging behind play, it's not good enough. I don't care if he has I don't care if he doesn't have the stamina or the willingness to actually track back and prevent a goal like Fede does. But if Fede is doing it, I expect him to do it as well. He is an attacking player. We can't really have the we don't really have the luxury to carry someone like him in the side. If you remember, like I've said this even last year, Marcelo used to get slated left, right, and center for his defending, but at the end of the day, he was 4 times the defender Trent was. The amount of last challenges that Marcelo used to put in on a regular basis to prevent certain goals, it's ridiculous. People, if you actually have time, go watch and see for yourself how well
His performance
Marcelo
against Bayern.
Yep.
not just
2017.
Bayern. Yeah, not just Bayern. So many sides.
People talk about the assists in that game, but he actually locked down Robin on that wing.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And just one more point I wanted to add, Sunil, if you allow me. Not trying to make this about Trent, but any new player who comes from the Premier League, they really have to adapt to the pace of La Liga. Something I feel Bellingham did very well in his first season. Agreed, he was playing a more frontal role in that season, 2023-24 season. But it's very important, and I think you guys must have noticed it as a trend with players who arrive from faster leagues, that they kind of find it a bit difficult to adapt to the pace of La Liga because it's not uniform. Like in the Premier League, if you're playing a 20th place team, they'll come at you with the same intensity. Their players will run as fast as probably a Man City or a Liverpool, but that's not the ideal case with La Liga all the time. And that is somewhere, I feel Eden Hazard also kind of faltered at Real Madrid. He was just, in his first season, just apart from the injuries, I don't think he was just able to adapt to the pace of the game. And sometimes he was too slow, sometimes he was too fast. So I think if Trent kind of adapts that, and if he can, also involve that Toni Kroos kind of role for us, which was kind of missing last year. We really have that void which we have not filled. The long balls and, that Toni Kroos vision, which I think Farooq will agree with me. Trent has that kind of vision, he has that capability of developing that vision for those long balls. So I think attackingly, yes, he's definitely going to be an asset from the right wing, but defensively, I think it's just up to his adaptability.
He's going to be key for us in set pieces as well. He has a decent whip on his delivery. But then again, I would like to bring up this point.
So then it's just a trade-off.
It is going to
Sorry.
be a massive trade-off. I don't think
Yes.
we're going to be on
Yeah.
the positive. We're going to net anything positive in this trade-off with actually featuring Trent. Because I'll put my head on the table and say this for a fact that Trent, yes, he'll have some good games. He might go through a bad period where he'll be completely displaced off the team by Carvajal. I do see it happening this season. I'm not sure about next year, but this season, if Carvajal uh, gets back to any semblance of a half decent right back, not the prime Carvajal of 2 years back, but a semblance of a decent right back, he's going to completely make sure that Trent is outside the side and just vying for 20 minutes, 15 minutes at the foot end of games. But I do think Trent is going to have a decent enough say, probably in the run during the Champions League knockouts. If we tend to do well, he's going to have a pretty decent say. But then again, therein lies the major issue. Xabi Alonso's system is heavily reliant on us pressing centrally so that we funnel teams out wide.
Yeah.
And his system basically is tailor-made, no matter if it's a 4-3-3 or a variant of the 3-5-2. It is designed to funnel teams out wide so that the wing backs or the wide men can deal with their wingers 1v1. And Trent 1v1 is a foregone conclusion. He can, sometimes, hold his own and come away decent. But if he's actually beaten, there isn't a chance in hell he is catching back up to anyone. Not even the slightly average pacey wingers of this world. He's going to be a couple of yards behind. So that's where I think Trent is going to suffer massively. But yeah, if we make sure the system is completely compliant to we got to let Trent do what he does and make sure that we cover his gaping holes, then fair enough, he might stand a chance. But until and unless Xabi Alonso finds the perfect recipe to make that happen, Trent is going to find it incredibly difficult, and the crowd isn't going to be easy on him. There is a huge amount of pressure.
And he's always been a bit sheltered because he's a Liverpool boy. He's grown up in
Yeah.
their academy. He's grown up in Liverpool. So he's always been a bit sheltered by the fans.
Mm-hmm.
But he's either going to be a Bellingham or he's going to be a Hazard. There's no in between, I feel, with Trent.
Yeah,
at least the first season.
For sure. Absolutely. Moving on. His next big signing, Housen. I haven't seen him extensively in the Premier League. Farouk, again, when I watched him at Bournemouth, but from what I've seen him play for us, at the Club World Cup, he is going to be absolutely instrumental if this Xabi Alonso system is going to be a success. His ability to really break lines with his passing. Not just his passing, his immaculate timing of those passes into the final third is incredible. That's a sort of range that I used to that used to be synonymous with the likes of Ramos. I would really be interested in seeing how this guy develops. He's 19. Towering frame, 6'5". I can finally relax a bit in terms of dealing with aerial duels. Against Tuesday, he's going to have a fine test in the form of Ante Budimir, 17 goals last year. He is absolutely in his prime, we could say. He's going to be a real test for Dean Housen. More of a stay back, passive centre back compared to his counterpart in Bilbao, who's going to be basically stepping up to pressure. Dean Housen is more of the passive of the duo. I felt like he marshaled his line really well in the Club World Cup, apart from that silly mistake that
PSG.
It was against Dortmund. Towards the end of the game, was it against Dortmund where he pulled the man down and got himself sent off?
I think it was Dortmund, yeah.
Yeah, it was Dortmund.
It was an extra time.
Yeah.
But then again, there were glaring positives.
Yeah.
because this guy is ball playing centre back who is a leader in defense, right? And he offers you incredible set piece ability on both ends of the pitch. So he's basically a younger, more athletic Antonio Rudiger who can also play the ball well.
Yeah.
So I think we've really got a well-rounded defender from what I've seen so far, and he can also play those Toni Kroos-esque long balls that we've so desperately been craving for, this last season. And I hope Mbappe is there to take advantage of that with runs in behind, because that is his strength. But if we can set this central defense up for someone like Houston, because remember, there were talks about a young centre back coming in even last summer, but then we settled, and then we had the emergence of Raul Asensio, right? Who at first he was a breath of fresh air. Honestly, there were comparisons of Sergio Ramos and whatnot. But then
His assist to Jude Bellingham, if you remember, against Osasuna.
Yeah, that was on his debut
at home.
So
yeah,
and he, to his credit, he was absolutely instrumental in for those few games where he came in, and then, like I said, he was a breath of fresh air. But then again, the cracks began to show through, right? If you give a young player coming through the academy that much exposure, that much experience, which is great again, but the other side of the coin is that eventually he's going to crack. Eventually, the weaker sides, the fragilities of his game are going to show through, and that's where the rash side of Raul Asensio, which we even saw at the Club World Cup, where he got himself sent off early in one of the games. That and just his tackling in the box, where he gave away a silly penalty end of last season. So those are the things that I think Dino Houston comes more. He comes to the club with having polished it in the past, right? Those qualities. Obviously, him and Raul Asensio being a centre back pair is something that we can look forward to. But yeah, that's just my look on.
Raul Asensio is a long way away from the first team, I feel like, at this moment in time.
Yeah,
some of his mistakes in the Club World Cup was it was beyond me. Like, I knew there were mistakes in him. He is still learning on the job, basically. But some of his mistakes were very amateurish for what this club demands. And I don't think he has to basically take a step back and be in the shadows, learn his trade, and then slowly ease back into the side, because as things stand, Militao is looking pretty decent. I know people are going to be incredibly skeptical whether to really put their money on him, coming off of the back of two major, ACL injuries. But what I've seen from him, especially against Tirol, although it's a friendly against a second division side, it was very encouraging, and I don't think the combination of Hausen and Militao is going to be great, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be the starting centre-back partnership on Tuesday as well, with Rudiger still serving his ban from last year for throwing ice packs at the referee. Honestly, it's beyond me, how petty we have become, but that's also something that Xabi Alonso will need to fix ASAP. This side, no matter the age, no matter if you're 30 plus 35,
attitude.
Yeah, you tend to have attitude issues and a total head loss when things don't necessarily, go your way. We can't really be having that. I get it. I get tempers, flair, and I need to see that passion in players. But all these young guys are going to be looking up to the likes of Rudiger, are going to be looking up to the likes of Fede, are going to be looking up to the likes of Vinny. And when they see their leaders, people who they consider heroes, having a head loss, I'm sure it's going to not really instill a lot of confidence in them. We need that level headedness, back in the side.
Or be
it's not an individual problem either,
like
right?
Sorry,
but it's not an individual problem, Sunil, right? It's not a few individuals that you can point out. Okay, it's Vinny, because in the past it was just Vinny, and then last season it was Jude as well, who we've never seen in this sort of situation before. Like, you've never seen Jude act out like he was last season. So I think it's a dressing room issue. It's a dressing room attitude that is one of the few things that will have to make way and go out with Ancelotti's reign. Yeah.
Yeah.
And more often than not, I think Rudiger's antics kind of go against us because suppose it's an important knockout two-leg match. He does this 90 plus fifth minute in the first leg, and
Yeah.
the second leg we're away, and he's not playing for us. That's kind of a big loss to us for 90 minutes. So, and Ramos and Pepe also back. Yeah, but there was a way to do it, and there was a creative way to do it with Pepe and Ramos the way they used to
Method
do
to
it.
the
It just
madness.
never harm us. Yeah, absolutely. And they're just like headless chickens, man. Like honestly, I think the players were very frustrated last couple of months of this season. They were just frustrated with a lot of things not going their way, especially after the Arsenal clash. I think and it was bound to happen because they knew, okay, it's just not going to get any worse from here.
Yeah.
So maybe just
Yeah.
lash it out at the ref. But yeah, they need to stop.
The smirk on Farouk's face tells me that he's keeping in something. But yeah,
I mean, the point is, I just see like you guys going about Rudiger and Rudiger and Rudiger. Like, was Rudiger a problem last year? How
I
many
don't think
matches?
so. No, he was
How
not a
many
problem.
matches did Jude miss? How many matches did Vini miss?
Mm.
How many matches did Kylian Mbappe miss?
Yeah, for sure.
These
They
three
were on
players
Rudiger.
are the
That's why I
issue.
was
And
mentioning.
when you guys say, "Oh, this is something that happened last year after the Arsenal match," bro, Jude almost got suspended for England during the Euros.
Mm.
He is a crybaby. Kylian Mbappe only God knows what he is.
Seriously.
So the point is, in my opinion, the success of the team relies on these three players, and these three players are the most spoiled brats you can find on the team. And
Even Rodrigo, who used to be super composed.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. Even Rodrigo, who used to be super composed,
This
basically
is the thing.
started giving in.
This is the thing. And if these guys, as Sunaid rightly mentioned, when you guys are the leaders of the team, even if you don't have the captain number, you guys are the leaders of the team because you guys are, like everyone is looking for you to make magic happen. If something happens, you go to the ref and you complain. Like literally, we've seen clips of Jude, Vinicius, Mbappe stop playing because they thought a foul happened on them. They literally stopped
All the
playing
time.
because they thought
All
they
the
were
time.
fouled.
Yeah.
And then what happens? I mean, the opposition team gets the ball, presses us, and go. And at the beginning we talked about what Xavi needs to do and what he doesn't need to do. And Sunaid was saying like they need to press through the middle for something to happen. I think one of the biggest challenges is going to be Xabi Alonso getting Vinicius Junior, Kylian Mbappe, and Jude Vinicius to press. Jude presses. Honestly, you can give him credit, but you don't press like a headless chicken. You have to make a cohesive press. If you're pressing like a headless chicken, it's so simple to break that press. It's super easy to break that press. Jude is honestly, Jude is he's like there is
He's
this
fantastic off the ball.
like this heliocentric players, the players who are like, they do everything. Jude is a complete player, but we need that team spirit. Vini is a phenomenal player. Kylian Mbappe hasn't demonstrated it to us, but we know what he can do. But the point is that we need these players to play more as a team rather than individuals. And I think this is going to be one of the biggest issues, starting from the disciplinary issue. I think Jude missed his first leg of a game. I don't remember, was it against Arsenal or something? Because he accumulated 4 yellow cards or 3 yellow cards. I don't remember.
No, wasn't asked.
Was he asked the first leg of Arsenal or the second leg? I don't know. Or it was the game before that. Or anyways, I think it was the game before that. But I know he missed an important knockout game in the Champions League because he accumulated yellow cards.
Yeah.
I can't remember at all.
You look at those.
Was it Atletico, if I'm not wrong?
I think it could be. I don't remember exactly. But the point is, like, you look at this and like
Atleti, I think first leg.
Yeah, Atleti. I think it was Atletico, if I'm not wrong.
I am okay if you do the Ramos Pepe style and just kick someone out. I am fine with that. But then when you get yellow card because you're talking to the ref, come on, bro. Like, I mean, that's unfair to us. Like, that's unfair to us, honestly.
Look, you're absolutely on point. Madrid did not have this in them. Like, at least if you see 7, 8, 10 years back, we never used to creep. Head down, score the goal, win, take the match ball home. I don't know why, and please don't hate me on this, and whoever's watching, please don't hate me.
The club has enabled certain activities, starting from what
I feel the club's become extremely woke, I'm sorry if I'm putting it across in a negative way. I'm really not, but it's just become woke. And, you don't hate me for this. I am the biggest Vinicius Junior fan. When he started, I supported him through his Solari days. Always saw that, he has that passion for the club. He's insufferable right now. He's tough to watch, man. On the ball, off the ball, just in general. And he'll get that wacko hairstyle one match. It will not work for him in 2 games. He'll go back to his normal hair. He's doing that every 6 months now. He's made an absolute joke out of his like social media PR. I don't know what it is. And I honestly feel Rodrigo on the left with Mbappe is still more useful for us. I don't want to digress, but I'm just trying to say that they've just become very
Yeah.
woke as a
I
club.
agree with you, bro. And I said this.
The-
I mean, I love
yeah.
Vinicius a lot, but I feel like the club is backing the wrong horse. I mean, not the
Yeah,
wrong
yeah, yeah.
per se, but the more stable horse. I feel like the ceiling of Vinicius is way higher than that of Rodrigo, but I feel like the contribution that Rodrigo offers could be more stable than what Vinicius offers. You understand?
Go back to 2019, 2020, those COVID seasons, early seasons for Vinicius and Rodrigo. Anytime Rodrigo played on the left wing, he was effective. He was getting an assist. If you remember his Champions League debut, he scored a couple of goals, like
Yeah.
in a really, really short span of time
Galatasaray.
from the left.
It was a hat trick against
Galatasaray,
Galatasaray.
yes.
3 goals.
Hat-trick against Galatasaray.
Yeah.
I mean, he's amazing on the left whenever he plays.
I mean, the elephant in the room is Kylian Mbappe here, right? So the problem now becomes like, how do you fit Kylian Mbappe and Vinicius Junior together on the left? I think that's the bigger problem. Rodrigo has
That's a whole
shown the
podcast in
flexibility,
itself.
exactly. Rodrigo has shown
I'm
the
tired of
flexibility.
these discussions. Like honestly, it's I'm
Hey, but
super,
Sunil, it's
super
my
Talk
it's
about
my
something
it's my
exciting.
first one, so
Arda Güler.
please let's have a discussion on it.
We'll get to Arda. But since we're on it, Vinicius needs to step up, like what Farooq said. Mbappe, yeah, 40 goals. People were really sending me death threats. When I used to call out Mbappe.
Really?
Yeah, literally. And I never used to be going easy on Mbappe. I used to be very, very harsh. So people his fanboys were rightfully grieving his their poster boy getting dismantled online. But this was my honest take. I don't put out reels of myself making all these statements. This is my honest views after a game, that his goals, although are pretty good, pretty crucial, they aren't necessarily game deciders. Apart from the goals against City, the goals against Atlanta, you could say, yeah, his teammates let him down. Fair enough. But Mbappe and Vinicius, all these guys up front needs to be doing a lot more to take this team forward. Like we saw against PSG, effectively, if we can nullify the service, even if we actually get the ball to them, they aren't willing enough or team oriented enough to actually find a way, problem solve on the fly. Kanish was mentioning that 7-8 years ago we never used to have all these crybaby situations popping up left, right, and center. Man, I'll be guilty for saying this, but honestly, when I was growing up and I used to watch Cristiano moan after a couple of guys basically stuck their foot into his abdomen, the likes of Mascherano, likes of Pedro, Busquets, who used to just take out Cristiano when he was trying to break away on the left. But I used to be like, yeah, man up, and that was Cristiano. He was he is the club's top scorer. He is arguably our greatest player, and I used to never go easy on him. I used to never be like, poor Cristiano, he's basically getting bullied. But right now we are forced to be like, Vinicius is at the mercy of the referee. Vinicius is at the mercy of the, of our opponents. These guys needs to really, really put all that behind them if they need to be successful. Really, really.
And Sunil, just adding to that point, I think the time has come where clubs have realized how to nullify Vinicius. It's so easy to rile him up.
Yeah, super easy. Yeah.
I mean, a local schoolboy team can rile Vinicius up. It's really not that difficult anymore. It's very straightforward to just rile. And once you rile him up, if he's not at the Bernabeu with the crowd support, and I still love when he goes after a failed take-on attempt, he'll go to the crowd, he'll try to cheer them up.
We all love
That's
that.
great. That's really great to see.
Yeah.
But if he's playing away, and if the club knows, okay, it's going to take him 2 fouls, he's absolutely nullified for the remaining of the game.
Yeah.
That kind of really sucks because he is our go-to player, whether we like it or not.
Coming on to we will discuss the couple of the new signings that we didn't discuss yet towards the latter end, because we don't have much evidence to talk about them. We'll move on to Gonzalo since we are on Vinicius and Mbappe. Farooq, I'll come to you, man. I don't know how well you followed us during the Club World Cup. I'm asking you this because you never mentioned when I was losing my mind with Gonzalo being the guy to be shafted when Mbappe was back from his injury. and ready to go. When Gonzalo was playing down the middle, we looked like we had a clear hierarchy. We had clear roles across the pitch where, yeah, like he's our centre forward. We are going to provide him the ball. We are going to whip in crosses to him. He's great in the air, decent with his feet. I didn't think actually, because I don't watch Castilla as much. I never really thought Gonzalo had a decent pass in his locker, but he does. He can pick out balls in transition, pretty effectively. He's not your Benzema, but he's not too shabby either. Farouk, walk me through this. Xabi Alonso, will he be able to handle, the Mbappe tagline, the Vinicius poster boy, the Rodrigo? Rodrigo, pretty much, I think he has completely disregarded him unless Rodrigo, manages to find something within him to, turn the tide and come back into the side and be a undisputable starter. But the Mbappe Vinicius, twofold, the stronghold on the attacking positions. Like, will Gonzalo be judged fairly, man? And if he doesn't, like, are we looking at another season where we're going to be blaming, we don't have a striker, we don't have a target man. Why is Mbappe not being central? Why isn't he being in a position to receive a good ball, a good delivery into the box? Are we going to be doing the same thing this year again?
Yeah, bro, I think so. I think irrespective of what Gonzalo does or what he doesn't do, they're just such a hierarchy that it's just undisputable. There's absolutely nothing you can do about that. And I'm telling you this, like, the point is, if David Alaba were to come back when, Raul Asensio was playing last year, Raul Asensio would have been out of the team. That's just it. It's just all about that hierarchy. So that's the thing. Like, I understand your frustrations about Gonzalo actually being unfairly treated in the game against Paris. But then it's interesting to note that I read that actually Gonzalo was going to start through the middle and Kylian Mbappe on the left, Vinicius Junior on the bench. The injury to Alexander-Arnold was what led to the reshuffle that actually pushed Gonzalo out wide. So it shows that actually, like, Alonso was willing to take that stance with Vinicius. You understand? So how much of it will he be willing to take with Kylian Mbappe? Because I get the feel that Kylian is on a different level when it comes to all these players at the club right now. So will he be willing to take that? I'm not sure. And my question is, or rather my worry is that, will he be willing to take Kylian Mbappe on, and would he actually win that battle? And I'm telling you that history suggests that he would not. Because you check all the clubs. Bar Pep Guardiola at City and also Pep Guardiola at Barcelona as well, and also Klopp at Liverpool. You don't take on the coach and win. They kick out the coaches and they bring new ones. That's generally how it's worked. And I understand your frustration, but I just feel like whether we like it or not, we have to accept that this is the hierarchy. This is why I personally was of the idea that, you mentioned someone from Osasuna, really. I was thinking, bro, you go to Ante Budemir, you give him a contract to come to Real Madrid. Bro, he's gonna walk, bro, from Pamplona to Madrid, bro.
He is the exact profile.
He's gonna walk, bro. But what
I mean, we have Gonzalo. He's really, really good, guys. Come on, you have to trust the kid.
I agree with you, Sunil, but tell me, which of the youngsters have we breeded in the past 10 years? I've been watching for around 15 years.
I have a different feeling, because I don't think this guy is going to single-handedly turn the tide, single-handedly make a case for himself whenever he is put on the pitch. I do have a feeling with Gonzalo.
I'm not saying he can't. Don't misunderstand me, Sunil. I'm not saying he can't. I'm just saying that he will not be allowed to. This is the point I'm making here. He would not be provided the platform to actually do this. We saw when Gonzalo got, a run of time, playing time. He performed. But if you're putting Gonzalo every 5 minutes, every 15 minutes at the end of the game, this is the exact same thing Endrick is facing. It's not because
absolutely. I was just going to say that. Yeah.
You need continuity to develop. And you put in me 5 minutes, 10 minutes at the end of the game. I'm sorry, bro. Like, where's the continuity there? I'm not denying what you're saying about the potential of Gonzalo. I mean, you will be very stupid to see what the man demonstrated in 6 games and to say that this guy cannot contribute. He can contribute. Okay, maybe not.
Even if you remember against Leganes, last minute winner last year.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's true. In the Copa del Rey, I remember last minute winner. Yeah, a fantastic header. I agree with you, but what I'm just saying is that he's gonna get a game here and there. You understand? So we're gonna keep.
But I don't think he's gonna start on Tuesday, Farouk.
You think so?
Yeah.
Actually, maybe he might start. I mean, because the point right now is like Rodrigo is persona non grata at Real Madrid right now, so I don't know what's going on with that. Rodrigo is a person that
I just hope he isn't funneled out wide.
I can tell you now, if Gonzalo Garcia starts together with Kylian Mbappe and Vinicius, he's on the right, bro. We can put him on it.
I really hope
So this is
Mbappe having
this
played
is
on the right in the past.
because now
I mean,
Kylian
it's so
Mbappe.
simple. Just put him through the center. Gonzalo Garcia, put
Okay, then
Mbappe on the left.
tell me,
Like,
Kanish, what do you do with Kylian Mbappe and Vinicius Junior? They have shown to us that they are not flexible. What
they
will you
have
do
to
with
be.
them?
I mean, I'm sorry, but like, I mean, of course, not taking the conversation away from your point, Farouk, but like, they have to be flexible now. I mean, it's high time. They've been given a season to do what they like to do, how they feel fit, and it's just been absolute shambles for us in attack. So right
Yeah.
now they just have to put their head down and do what they're best at, and do that from their position. Mbappe has shown time and again he can play from the left. Gonzalo's go through the center. Vinicius, I honestly feel the first few matches and I do agree with Suned he should start from the bench. I feel he needs to be given that reality check. What Rodrigo has been given from time to time.
I mean,
I
can
think
agree
that
with
is
you.
going to take the best out of him.
If Vinicius starts from the bench, then okay, we see Gonzalo through the middle. But I'm just saying to you, there is no way on earth that all three of them start and you see Gonzalo through the middle. Gonzalo is going to play on the right because they're going to play Mbappe through the middle.
I just wish it was a bit more dynamic. They could
Mm.
slot in left, right, and center, and then be a
Yeah.
bit more fluid. And
Yeah.
man, like Mbappe can't do shit centrally. Yeah, he can maybe beat a man, but Gonzalo is a natural center forward who knows what positions to pick up, how to basically fool, center backs
Yeah.
into a false sense of security, and completely catch them by surprise. He also has a very underrated leap in him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's not necessarily the most tallest player out there. He's only 6 foot, but he is absolutely incredible in the air, and we need to be taking advantage of it.
He's very Raul-esque, Suned. He's like Raul. He's very Raul-esque
Actually,
in
I
his
also think
gameplay.
another point also that has to be addressed in this situation now becomes the fact that when you're playing with Trent Alexander-Arnold as your right back, you don't have that.
You have to have box presence.
You don't have that
100%.
luxury. Because I personally think the reason why you might want to funnel Garcia out is because you expect him to work more than Vinicius or Kylian Mbappe would. So imagine you have a right side of Vinicius Junior and Trent Alexander-Arnold. Bro, my coaching plan would just be get the ball, shoot it to Real Madrid side, which is our team's left. Because we know that there's going to be tons of space. Tons of space. So I think these are also factors that come into that. So it's not just that straightforward, but I understand that. I get what Sunil is coming, and I understand his frustration. I also have that because I feel like it should be merit-based. If I perform, I should know that I am going to get into the team, irrespective of who's there behind me. That's what it was in the past. It's merit-based. But unfortunately, right now, we're at the point where the club is not just merit-based. It's about hierarchy of players.
And also about all the intangibles, man. Like, I get it. Endrick is my boy. He's one of my boys. I really, I'm a huge fan of the Brazilian national team and Seleção. He has had a good couple of years at Palmeiras, been instrumental in the winning big titles. Has banked goals, important goals, but in a system that caters to him. He is not your guy to play a lone center forward. He is someone who can play off a big man, who can, if given,
striker.
Yeah, who can be an essential second striker. Let's be honest, it is a position that has completely died out in the modern game, at least. In the top sides, an SS is an afterthought almost. And that was one of my biggest, concerns when he came to Madrid. Like, he was this exciting talent, blah blah blah, but his whole profile, he's 5'7", 5'8". He's my height. He isn't necessarily going to cut it playing out and out striker unless he is the second coming of Maradona or Pele himself. Someone who is basically so gifted that he can navigate two centre backs, take on the likes of Van Dijk, who's 6'5", and beat him 1v1. I don't think Endrick is that guy. And the club basically, just because of his marketing, just because we bought him as this big next thing, we gave him the number 9. Like, I get it. Gonzalo too early. 6 games, maybe a couple of knockout games in the Copa del Rey. Would he really warrant a number 9? But I really, the romantic in me would really want Gonzalo to be given that number 9. But he was given number 16. I don't get it. Endrick number 9. For what? He doesn't even have the profile of a 9.
We are.
Yeah.
I don't know. All these decisions, yeah, very, very far from what I, really
No,
like in an
absolutely. Agree on that point, Sunil. Like,
ideal world. Yeah.
no, I'm just saying, agree on that point. Like, there's no second striker position in world football. I think the last club which did have a semblance of a SS was Burnley. When
Mm,
they were dilly-dallying between the Championship and the Premier League.
mm.
But yeah, absolutely no. Do not agree with him getting the number 9. Should have been Gonzalo's. I still feel, Gonzalo has that Raul Regen quality in him. Uh, Club boy, Madrid boy. Why not? Why not give him the
Mm.
number 9? It's fine. You gave
Yeah.
Vinny the number 7 2 years back. So
Mm,
you
mm,
did put
mm.
your faith in him. So why not? Yeah.
But the point that Farooq makes about hierarchy, just quickly answer this in a yes or no. Is it easier for defenders who come through from the academy? Because we've seen this
Always.
over the years.
No, I do feel it's definitely much easier for defenders coming through the academy, because inherently strikers have a lot more pressure on them.
Mm.
And if you pick out maybe the last decent striker was, please correct me if I'm wrong, this guy who scored the goal against Atletico Madrid 3 seasons back. I forget his name.
Alvaro.
Alvaro. I think, yeah, the curly hair, tall guy. But defenders, you see Carvajal, you see Nacho, they're given time to grow. They're given their time to, mature as footballers. I think Carvajal was also sent to Bayer Leverkusen on loan to develop. And I think once he came back, he was absolutely phenomenal. Nacho's been in this system for very, very long. So I think definitely for defenders, it's a tad bit easier. It's not easy for any player coming through the youth ranks of Real Madrid, but for defenders, definitely tad bit easier.
Yeah. A couple of seasons ago, we also saw this talent called Nico Path, who
Nico Paz, yes.
actually did pretty well for himself at Como.
There are rumors that we might get him back, but
yeah.
I'm not sure if that's going to happen.
Far-fetched.
Even, Jacobo Ramon, who went out on loan. Not loan, I think there was a buyback clause. He's been doing pretty decent as well. But
even Marvin, he was a good winger.
Yeah.
He started a couple of games under Zidane in 2021-22 season, if I'm not wrong. Marvin Park. Marvin Park, yeah.
So yeah, the Gonzalo Endrick situation. Endrick's still out injured. I think he'll be out injured for at least a month, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, I really hope Gonzalo gets his fair shout, man. He's going to be the reason why we're going to be winning big things, if we are going to win big things this year. It's not going to be Vinny, it's not going to be Mbappe, and this is my hot take. If it is a hot take, you guys need to check yourself, because Gonzalo is the truth. We have to really back the boy. Moving on quickly. Goaler in midfield.
So I'm just going to say, sorry to interrupt you, Sunil. Now, that's my one hot take. I think Alonso's first season, make or break, is Arda Güler. That's my own hot take. So now, you can.
I was just going to say this, Farooq.
I couldn't hear you there, Farooq. You just cut for a moment.
You stole my words, Farooq.
Oh, sorry. I was saying, actually, Kanisha, I was saying to Sunil that he said Gonzalo is his hot take, and I'm saying, like, for me, Arda is my hot take as well. I think
Bro, undoubtedly, I think 4 of us can agree Arda Güler is going to be integral this year. He's going to be absolutely key. No two thoughts.
I agree, Kanish. He's going to be key, but is he ready to be key? That's the question.
I feel so. If you see, he's worked a lot on himself physically. He shed that weight. He's building that muscle. He's trying to be a bit more physical in midfield. There were reports of him working out in the gym. So I think even in the off season, he has been working on himself. And for me as a fan, that's enough to see that in your off season, you're putting those extra hours so that you can probably last 10 minutes more in a match in a much better with a much better stamina. With much better precision. So I feel, that work that he's just putting in kind of gives me that optimism that Guler's going to be key. He's got a nasty left foot, man. I have a thing for left-footed midfielders. It just takes me back to Ozil and, Bale, when he used to play in that position, Robin, and if you just compare him with that, he's got a nasty left foot. He's fast. And, I think give him a run of 7 to 10 games. He did not get that. Not on the wing. No, absolutely not on the wing. In the midfield.
He's going to be.
He did not get that last season.
Our midfield is going to be Chouameni, Fede, and Güler on Tuesday.
Yeah, absolutely.
Could be. Yeah, he's been a right-sided. Oh, does he?
Yeah.
Who do you think Farouk is going to start in our midfield on Tuesday?
Yeah, I think what you mentioned, I would agree with that.
Oh, okay. Oh,
Oh,
right. Fair
so it's
enough.
just the facial expression you made.
Sahil,
I
you have
think
to learn
he's
to read people better. Okay.
No, actually,
yeah.
Work on it. Work on
why
it.
I made the facial expression was because, like, for me, I see like Arda Güler as a very, I don't want to say luxury, but like a player who seeks creativity, hence takes more risks. But where the point is now,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
when you're playing deeply and you're taking those risks closer to your boxes, it means that when you have a turnover, it leads to a more clear chance for the opposition than if you're at the top of the
Mm.
pitch. So actually, this is one of the things I
Farouk,
have.
that's a fair concern to have. My thing is, you made a very good point. He'll be dropping deep. Yes, he'll be dropping deep and trying to orchestrate play from deep. But I do think that his awareness and his incredible ability to play passes, I think would bail him out more than often. Yes, but he
Yeah.
might be caught out a couple of times, but I do really worry for him in transition when he is
Mm.
losing the ball or when one of his teammates loses the ball high up the pitch. How does he get back into the position? How does he then tuck in and try to help defensively? I do think it isn't something that can be really trained. Um,
Mm.
Internal.
and like that's why I think guys like Thiago Petach from the academy has a very very good chance considering how highly the management team rates him, and from the limited footage I've seen, shout out to Real Madrid Fabrica on Twitter, that I've seen of him. He looks like the complete package that we need, that we kind of fantasize Gola turning out to be. Goaler is incredible. Like what Kanishk was raving about his left foot, his ability to whip those collars in, test goalkeepers, cast them off guard. He can do all that, but it's his defensive awareness that needs a lot of work. Um, and I would also piggyback on what Farouk said. Regarding regarding the fact that he's a luxury player until he can really fine tune what he can bring defensively to this team. Because you can look all polished. You can put the gloss over good team performance with Goller, but can he add that steam? That's what's missing, and I do think that's going to undermine whatever positive he brings to the side.
Mm.
Unfortunately for Goller. But yeah, you guys have a fair shout in putting him up as one of the big
Players to
big
watch, yeah.
players to watch
Definitely
under
one of the big
Xavi's.
players to watch.
Because
Just
I
that
personally go on, sir, go on.
yeah.
Go on, go
No,
on.
I was just gonna say that when we say that we use the term luxury player, we described just a while ago, we described Trent Alexander-Arnold
Mm,
as a very similar kind of
mm,
presence in the squad where we have to
mm,
cover for his fragilities, and we have to
mm,
hope that the net positive is it outweighs the net negative.
mm,
And I also feel like Vinny is ultimately that kind of player also because
mm.
of the fact that he absolutely doesn't press. So then are we having, are we do we end up with too many of those luxury players in the
Too
squad? Because
many,
you
too
can't
many, way too
Mm.
many, way too many, way
Yeah.
too
That's a
many.
you
very
can't
fair
drop a
point. Yeah.
Trent or a Vinny, but you can drop an Arda when he starts to become, a problem.
That's a very fair point, guys.
We have too many of them. We have too many of them. Too
For
many
me,
of
the
them.
issue is
Even
like I feel
even.
like the club is like banking. I'm not sure. Okay, the transfer market is still open, but I feel the club is banking so hard that Arda Güler can make that transition in a single, flip of a switch. And I think that's
Season.
unfair. You understand?
Mm,
Because what should have happened is when those guys were there, when the Modric was still getting some playing time, they should have, embedded Arda into this role. Carlo tried it for a bit of while, somehow, but not too much. But I just feel like that transition is going to come too hard, too fast for Arda Güler to do that. And because of that, we're going to find maybe in the long run, he eventually develops into that. As we've seen, with Martin Odegaard, he was, a cam now, he's an eight, whatever it is that he does for us, more or less, a tenacious midfielder. But it took him time to
mm,
become what he is right now. So I think for Arda Güler also, he needed that learning curve.
mm,
He needs it. But I feel like the club is trusting him so much to be able to do that job that it seems like they're not going to buy a midfielder. So now this is where that's why I said like
mm.
him. I think he's gonna make or break Alonso's first season. Honestly, I do think he's gonna be very
Yeah.
very integral to that.
I do. I don't think Alonso, since we have these very clear. I think it's pretty clear for everyone to see what Arda Güler lacks in, and I don't think this is where a guy like Thiago Pitach comes into play. He is very inexperienced when it comes to Arda. All the likes of Germany, all our midfielders, Jude Bellingham. He is what like um, um, Spanish Moroccan midfielder. I think he joined our club a couple of years back. In a year, he has basically risen up from Juvenil B to almost Castilla. Has had sporadic appearances for Castilla. He is the perfect uh, comparison that we can have currently to Modric in the terms of two-way ability that he possesses defensively and offensively. Is also said to be a great finisher of attacks as well. So if Arda Güler is someone that needs a bit more time to find his foothold, we have a guy like Thiago Pitach. And let's not forget about Tchouaméni as well. He's also going to be so crucial for Xabi Alonso this year because he
Much
is that one.
improved player.
Yeah, he is going to be that one player who's going to basically dictate a seamless shift in formation mid game. From a 4-3-3 to a 3 at the back. Germany is going to be so crucial if we are going to be flexible and adaptive on the fly. The midfield, yeah, like we all discussed, it's not the finished article. There has been rumors all throughout these years. Enzo Fernandez being mentioned. Fabian Ruiz. Vitinha. We are admirers apparently of Vitinha, but we all know
Angelo Stiller also for a while
Stella.
this summer. Yeah,
Stella. I've seen what Stella can do. He is really good in terms of
he's very
recycling
good. Yeah,
possession, and distributing
even
possession from
Florian
deep.
Wirtz was kind of linked for a while.
Mhm. But Wirtz
I
is
know
again
that
a number
rumor kind
10, right? He's a number 10.
of died down. Yeah, but like he was also linked.
He is not going to work for us unless Xabi Alonso's
Mm.
3-5-2 relies on a pseudo 10, but yeah, Wirtz or a number 10 working for us, it remains to be seen how heavily reliant are we going to be on,
The only
a
reason
system
Jude
with it.
works is because he has the work rate to back up.
Yeah, 100%. There's no doubt regarding that. But yeah, Goaler, big question mark. We'll have to wait and see. Signs, there are some promising signs, but yeah, like I don't expect too much of him. Like I mentioned the other day in the group chat. Franco Mastantuono, I'll be honest, I haven't watched much of him, but from the
Me
highlights,
neither.
from
Yeah,
bits of what I've seen at the Club World Cup, again, a midfielder who is super comfortable on the ball, can drop deep, can play an advanced role as well. Not shy to really provide that defensive steel if needed. He's not physically intimidating yet, but that is something we can all work our players towards. We have seen the physical transformations. The guys like Brahim, Jude, all these guys have gone after they've joined us. Mastantuono is someone that is going to be key again for Xabi Alonso as well.
it depends how much game time he's gonna get. Right, I don't see him getting a lot of
with
game time.
with the midfield equation kind of
Mm.
being up in the air at the moment, with Kamavinga missing probably the
Mm.
first couple of games, Jude Bellingham out for 3 months. There's going to be at least a spot up for grabs. Fede is untouchable. I don't think. Tchouaméni so far for Xabi Alonso, with his performances as well, is untouchable. But you never know with Tchouaméni. He can have a really good month, but then he can have a bit of
Yeah.
a jitter here
And
and here.
this is a point I was saying when you mentioned John. He was bad in the first half of last season. I mean, he's a great player. Like
Yeah, he
he
got
was
literally booed. Yeah.
very bad in the first
Mm.
half of the season, and suddenly, he just improved a lot on the ball with his long balls and with his physical presence. He's a very hit and miss Phil. He's not been able to take that Casemiro spot for which he was brought into the team, and every time
He's
Camavinga
not
came
that
and kind of
CDM.
replaced him.
He's not that CDM. No.
He'll never be that CDM. And like when Camavinga came in his place, he was very impressive in the few games, if I remember seeing it correctly. Like
Yeah.
just I rate Camavinga very highly in this position. If he is fit, I definitely would like to see him play more in midfield.
Mm. Right. Okay. Who else didn't we touch up upon? Vinicius
Alvaro
Rodrigo.
Carreras.
Oh, Carreras, for sure. Yeah. I mean, the whole reason why I
Is he just a
completely
clone of Fran Garcia, or is he just a better Fran Garcia, or what?
he is a better Fran Garcia defensively.
Okay.
That's pretty much it, at least from my eye test. See, I'm not his scout. I'm not
Yeah, yeah.
Tony Calafat. I can't really sit here and give you an explanation, but from what I've seen of Carreras at Benfica, he can really lock on people. He locked on Yamal. When Mo said that, I was a bit surprised because I haven't been paying that much attention to Benfica, but then I
see.
went back and watched his performance against Yamal. He is a good 1v1 defender. He can hold his own. He doesn't get really skinned like Fran Garcia tends to be at times. But the overall package, is it a significant improvement? It's like, how do I put it? It's like going from a Corolla to a Camry, but that's just about it.
It's a marginal, yeah. But then again, I think it's healthy competition, because the way I see it now, it's gonna just be competition between Fran and Carreras, because Mendy is pretty much a third centre back option now for me. He is not a left wing back. Never will be.
Alaba, if he's fit, I don't know. I heard rumors they're planning to play him more in midfield now than in defense, because he has, let's be honest, nothing to offer in defense anymore. I think he'll just too slow for La Liga. I think just after his injuries, maybe his last year we are seeing, but he can definitely be a role player in the squad. Copa del
100%.
Rey with the
I don't
amount
think
of
Alaba.
matches.
I don't think if Alaba can stay fit, the likes of Alaba, the likes of Mendy can form, a very good team B,
Second
B
option.
team.
Yeah, absolutely.
Who can see out games, who can, navigate our very hectic fixture list for sure. But Mendy being a centre back, I don't think it's ever going to happen. Let's not bank on that. I do still believe that he has
third
a
centre
role
back.
to play. I don't think
Zidane
so.
tried it.
I mean, we've seen
I know.
Mendy play in that position in
I
some
know,
games in the last 5-7 minutes.
But I don't think so. He's really two-footed. He can really do a job, but I don't see it, especially with how poor he's aerially. It remains to be seen how effective.
I see him more as a third centre back than as a left wing back.
I do agree with Sahil on this. I think he does not have anything to offer, I feel, on the left flank, especially with Fran and Carreras.
But if you revert back to a traditional 4-3-3,
then that conversation can be had. Yes.
Yeah. Right then. So yeah, that's pretty much all the new signings and some of the new problems that Xabi Alonso has to figure out pretty quickly. Looking at Osasuna, new coach Alessio Lisci, if I'm not mistaken, if that's the way you pronounce it. We're going to be dealing with a lot of usual suspects. Ante Budimir, like I said earlier, 17 goals last season, a proper test for Militao and Hausen. Finally, we have someone who can match Budimir for his height. Brian Zaragoza, Oro's, threats with their individual ability. I read that Raul Garcia suspended, one less annoying guy to deal with. But, they offer a compact 4-2-3-1 setup. If Goller is playing in the field, he has his work cut out with Moncayola and Toro to deal with. We can't let their midfield pivot to dictate possession, and have guys like Goller who isn't proactive enough on the press if you have to deal with them, because Osasuna is going to actually rely on the pivot to dictate how the game goes. We have to be on our toes. I know facing Osasuna at home is a completely different proposition compared to traveling to El Sadar. We bet them 4-0 last year, if you remember. With Vinny's hat trick and Mbappe, Jude getting sent off. After saying fuck off to his ref. Same guy who basically gave the second goal for Barcelona against Mallorca yesterday. If you guys have seen it, the controversial second goal, he basically kept the whistle to his mouth but didn't blow. After a reported concussion suffered from the Mallorca centre back. Yeah, La Liga is back at it. The controversies have already started, and people are already moaning. I'm not ready for any of this. I just don't want our club to club and the fans to go down that route. That we're losing because of because of this, because of that. We have to really be accountable this season. That's one thing I would like
Yep.
Xabi Alonso to instill
Yep.
to the squad. Right then, boys. Quick final thoughts. I'll come to you, Sahil, first.
Yeah, I mean,
Predictions for first the season as a whole.
yeah.
How many trophies are we going to win, if we are going to win any, and prediction against Osasuna as well.
I feel like we have a young squad, a lot of potential. Xabi Alonso's the first season of his era. I feel like if we can win some of the big games, I see Atleti in September at the Metropolitano, at the, Barca at home in October as well.
Yeah.
We can win La Liga. So I think we're in contention for La Liga, Champions League semi-final as well. I think we would make it to the semi-final with the squad. I expect us to go to the final of the Supercopa again. Then it really is down to
Copa del Rey, you mean?
no, a Supercopa.
Oh, Supercopa. Okay.
Yeah.
You really give
It's a
a
knockout.
damn about Supercopa? Okay.
Does I mean you asked for season predictions? That's a valid
Okay.
domestic
Fair
trophy.
enough. You
'Cause
do
I
you.
think
You do
we
you.
might. I think best case scenario we do a domestic double.
Mhm.
Copa del Rey I don't really have much hope, and I never have had. But yeah, Osasuna predictions. I say a solid 2-0 win, first game of the season.
Farouk?
For me, am I mute? Yeah, for me, I don't know, man. Honestly, I kind of feel like we take for granted what Carlo Ancelotti had last season. We had some really bad games, but let's not forget, like, he fought till the last weeks for the title. He was in the final of all the domestic competitions. And, he, of course, like the game against Arsenal was really bad in the quarterfinal, but like that's quite significant achievement. So I do think I don't see us doing better than that. I feel like right now, I just don't see the way we are able to better Barcelona not because I think Barcelona are better man for man for us, but because we're in a transition phase, right? We're trying to adapt, so we're not too sure about what we're gonna see. Maybe down the line, I would like I don't know, rephrase or like revisit this prediction more or less or this forecast. But I do think, yeah, like I don't see us winning the league honestly, and I think in the Champions League, like the quarters or maybe the semis, as Silo was saying, is cool. But I do think we should be in the running for winning a domestic cup at least. So yeah.
Ganesh?
Yeah, I think optimistic about the new season. I think we've got a lot of squad depth this time, something that we lacked in the past few seasons. Defensively in midfield and in attack, now we have a decent squad. I feel La Liga is something that should be done this year. I feel we do have the squad. We do have the squad depth. I think it just comes down to implementation and the right tactics and the right thing at the right time. Champions League, I do not see us winning it this year. Unfortunately, I think the likes of PSG, Barcelona, Liverpool are very strong, and they've kind of picked up from where they've left off. So I think it's just gonna be maybe a semi-final, and I don't feel like if we go to the final and lose, I don't want to see that. So maybe I'll also stick with silence as semi. I feel, and maybe a Copa del Rey this time. So I think two to three trophies, Super Copa, Copa, and La Liga is, I think, something I'm optimistic about, but not the Champions League this season.
Well, I'll go against the trend and say that we're going to win the Champions League this year. You heard it here first.
Let's record that.
It's on record. It's on record. The reason why I feel like we have a chance is because we are going to be incredibly motivated to right the wrongs of Arsenal that happened last year, and I do think the squad is well equipped to handle the Champions League compared to La Liga, where you have to be a lot more consistent, pick up points on a consistent basis. I don't think Champions League we can navigate with. We need a bit of luck, obviously, but
last year we didn't have any. To be very honest, we were not seeing a good lucky patch. Also,
Declan Rice, bro, 2 free kicks. When does that?
It'll never happen again. It'll never happen again.
Yeah. I hope we face Arsenal again, and we
Yeah,
get to shut them up forever.
it's just insufferable Arsenal fans in your inbox, man. Then after
Yeah,
that, it was horrible.
yeah, yeah. We just need one more opportunity to right the wrong. I don't think we have a really good chance. Like you said, Kanishk, earlier, Barcelona, PSG, they're going to be, stern tests. Especially, I just wish we have the second legs at home. We didn't have that luxury against Arsenal. It didn't do us much good. But I do think if we have the luck of the draw and a couple of decisions going our way in pivotal moments, the Champions League is ours to lose this year.
And also
Don't
the skip
yeah.
season logic, we are winning it every second year after not winning it the year before. So I think
Oh yeah,
just that
yeah.
simple trend.
You can also maybe fall back on that
Whatever
as
helps you
well.
sleep at night.
22,
Yeah,
24,
yeah.
maybe 26, never know.
Maybe we are being a bit delusional by thinking
Yeah.
this. But
Yeah, bro.
I have to dream.
Yeah.
To be honest. Because if I can't dream, I can't stay alive. Because if you're going into the season saying that, like deep down, I know we don't really stand a chance in any other competitions. Because I see Barcelona now, they create chances so consistently. It's almost fucking telegraphed. No teams really, when Barcelona are on it, attacking wise,
So
nobody really stands a chance. So yeah, my actual feelings are pretty pessimistic, but I still do believe our DNA and the very fabric that we represent is gonna help us a long way in winning the Champions League. So, but yeah, boys, I think that's pretty much it. I hope we have touched pretty much everything we can and we had to touch up. Some of the obvious discussions might be, beyond this preview. Like Thibaut, there isn't anything to discuss about Thibaut. I just feel bad for Lunin, but we know for a fact that if Lunin is called upon, he's going to perform out of his skin.
perform. Yeah,
He's
absolutely.
super reliable.
He's a very good servant for the club. Very, very good servant.
Very good servant. Very good servant. Farooq, do you know how many minutes do we have?
I'm not exactly sure, but I know we have more than 10 minutes.
More than 10 minutes. Okay. So I can take my time with the outro. Right then. Any other important points that we failed to cover, guys?
Yeah, I just
quickly?
feel one point. I think we should touch upon Rodrigo. I think maybe separately or also, because I've been a fan of Rodrigo. I've loved how he's played since he's come on in 2018-19. And, I just feel he deserves a chance to stay in Madrid. He has, maybe you guys disagree with me. I feel he has a lot more to offer to Real Madrid as a player. You cannot, he's given some very clutch moments.
DM me your PayPal
seasons.
or your whatever it is. I'm gonna send you some money because I'm the biggest Rodrigo fanboy out there. But
Kanish, so
man,
it's not about
it's beyond me.
It's not about Rodrigo wanting to say, it's about the role that you're offering to Rodrigo. Rodrigo, in his own right, I believe he's right in his own right, 100% to see himself as a player who is going to be given the mantle. But the point is, when the decision moment comes, you're going to go to Kylian Mbappe, you're going to go to Jude Bellingham, you're going to go to Vinicius Jr. before you come to Rodrigo. So the question now becomes, does Rodrigo want to continue in this vein? Especially if Alonso is going to play with two forwards, which means now that Rodrigo is going to get relegated to the bench. So he's going to become an option. So the point is, there is no team in the world right now, maybe other than Mohamed Salah, there is no team in the world that Rodrigo doesn't go that it becomes the number one attacking option.
Direct starter. I know that. And it kind of pains me, it's one of the things which is very sad about this current season that Rodrigo is kind of sidelined. And I so wanted him to succeed. I was seeing him as the next big Madrid right wing or the big Gareth Bale position, cemented Vinny, Mbappe, Rodrigo. I don't know how, I don't know. Don't ask me the tactics, but it was just a dream, as so said, a man can dream, and it was a dream to see them three as the next BBC. But I think, unfortunately, I think he's more out than in at this moment. What do you guys think?
He's not going to leave. I do think this is going to motivate him, and he's going to fight his way back. He has always done
that. Yeah, that's one true thing. Always done that.
I think he's going to outlast this tricky period. because there's a quality player there. We saw it against Tirol. If you guys
Yeah.
see the friendly, brilliant goal,
Quality
brilliant
goal.
goal.
Yeah. The last one,
From
right?
the left though. But you
Yeah.
know, Rodrigo can and should be doing much better. Like I've said this. Like he's my baby. You know, but he has to perform out on the right as well. Like you can't be making excuses after 5 years, 4 years, saying that, oh yeah, you know what, I need to play my position to excel. I
Yeah.
get it. But so many great players have performed out of position to
Absolutely.
stake a claim in great sides. Di Maria played as an 8. Do you think do you think he enjoyed playing as an 8 behind the BBC? No, he didn't. Like he knew he could, like Di Maria as a player, man, he could back himself against Gareth Bale any day. He has that much quality, but people have to make sacrifices. You have to really.
Well, eventually, what happened to Di Maria though? Di Maria played as the 8, and the next season he was gone. So that's the thing. Like that's the point. Like if you're an ambitious player, I mean, we're also like like in careers as well. Like so, if you have an ambition in your career, you're not gonna sit down and be a substitute to someone that you feel you're as good as. Like you take a side step, or even if it requires you taking a step back, you take a step back, establish yourself. Even Di Maria left. Di Maria left went
I can picture Rodrigo absolutely killing it at Arsenal. I can literally picture that. Or maybe at Man City.
Don't make me throw up, but yeah.
I mean, no, just for his betterment as a footballer, like just for my love to him as a footballer. Keeping clubs and loyalties aside, I do see him succeed in the Premier League, La Liga, Serie A, Bundesliga, anywhere he goes. But it's just such a shame that we have such a good problem that we can't accommodate it.
Well,
it kind of pains me, yeah.
Let's hope for his case, for our case, that he is back to his very best, and being in the mix with, like, he should be taking all he can, all the motivation he can from the likes of Gonzalo Garcia. Man has to fight the fucking mafia to be in the lineup. He has to see that. He has to see that and be like, yeah, like I've been given a much more privileged position to be in, compared to Gonzalo Garcia.
You can't make that comparison, man. Gonzalo Garcia is literally a baby who's coming through the ranks. Like Rodrigo is an
but I'm just saying,
who should be in the line to become the captain of the team. So you shouldn't be treating him that way. I understand your love for Rodrigo, Sunek, but I'm just saying, like, look at it objectively from Rodrigo's perspective.
I get it.
No way on earth he will stay at Real Madrid, considering what he's been offered. Like,
guys, think about it this way: one injury to anyone, it can happen. Not jinxing or anything.
Come on, Kanish. Like,
one injury,
man. Like, I mean, again, as I'm saying, like, this
suspensions as well.
His prime.
Suspensions, injuries. We've seen it happen before.
This is a Brazilian international. Why would he sit down and be like, yeah, okay, I have to wait for someone to get injured, bro? This is not Barcelona where you're registering players after someone get injured, bro. Like, why would he do that?
But a great side always needs,
now let me just ask
players
you,
off the bench. But no, I get it.
Go that. If everything is being
Rodrigo's too good.
Rodrigo fights and fights and fights. Where does he play in the team?
On the right.
Okay, so this is
to say that.
No, this is just it. So yeah.
That's it, man. Sad, pretty sad how it's turned out.
Yeah. I'm telling you, Mbappe is the reason. If we didn't get him, we would be fine. But unfortunately,
I'm telling you guys, if even Mbappe gets kidnapped and he disappears, man, you know who to find, bro. I'm not.
No.
Who's to find.
No. Well, I have to blame someone, right? But yeah, jokes aside. Big up all the people who are going to be tuning in later on. Big up the people tuning in across the world on audio platforms as well. Like I always say, when you guys mentioned that we accompany you on your morning routines, on your night drives, on your gym sessions, it's super humbling. The amount of messages that I received over the period that we took a break, again, super humbling. We missed you guys, like you guys missed us as well. You guys make this pod what it is. This pod is what it is because it's a two-way street. We can have healthy conversations about the team we love and various hypotheticals and whatnot without really making it personal and slating one another. We can differ on opinions, but we stand united on one thing, that is the love for this club and wishing that our team does well and can actually hold its head high when May comes around. Last year was a season to forget. This year, um, truth be told, I wasn't really keen on. I didn't really have my batteries recharged enough to look forward to the season. But yeah, come match day on Tuesday, I'll be locked in. I hope that the team really answers all the questions, all the lingering questions that has been passed around. Are Real Madrid completely gone? Are they out of the equation? Are the Champions League, perennial kings out of the equation already? We have to send the right message. No matter what the scoreline is on Tuesday, we have to send the absolute right message to start the season on a high. Last year it was a draw. We all know how the feeling was. I'm not sure if Farooq was here, but I remember Sahil being here at the post match. We were completely deflated. I don't want that feeling on Tuesday. We want a positive, big win. Like if it's 3-0, I'll take it. But we need a big win, or all our boys getting a good run out. Positive vibes. The second game away Sunday, Oviedo, Cazorla, back in the Spanish top flight after God knows how long. They're going to be fired up as well. Like Sahil said, Atleti around the corner, Barcelona in October, Champions League, next month. It's going to be coming in thick and fast, and we have to be ready. We have to be ready. Average age of 25. These guys needs to mature up ASAP. Transition season, yeah, it works at Arsenal. Project season works at Arsenal. At Madrid, yeah, we can sugarcoat it by saying, yeah, it's the transition season. But at the end of the day, come May, if we don't win a trophy, if you're a manager, your head is on the table. Xabi Alonso might
the
get
last
a
time we
pass.
were in a transition, we won the Champions League. So I think I'm still very optimistic.
Oh yeah, for sure. We are the one club that can forego all these project phases and all that bullshit. The English media tries to cook up. We are one club that is above all these metrics. I do think we can do the unthinkable and win the Champions League, surprising absolutely everyone. But we need to be a tight-knit unit. We need to find meritocracy among the squad. People need to be looking at others and be like, oh yeah, there's a reason why he's starting ahead of me. He is putting in the shift. He is getting us to places we weren't getting before. People needs to have that confidence in the manager. I really hope it's the way that it pans out.
Bro, we need to wrap up.
What was that, Farouk?
2 minutes. We need to wrap up.
Oh, yeah. Big up our sponsors as always. Go check them on Manscaped, LBI20 to get 20% off and free shipping on manscaped.com. Also, go check out Fanatics, official partners of La Liga and Madrid. The affiliated link is in the description below. Also, go show some love to Talksport as well. Everything on LBR is officially powered by the Talksport Fan Network, powered by the fans. But until next time, boys, hopefully. See you on Tuesday after Osasuna. Big win. Ala Madrid.
Ala Madrid, boys. Good night.